Because yes, she might have done good things afterwards, but that one evil thing just overshadows it all, and I hope is burning in hell. Hello! Welcome to this week's video. So for this week, I am here back with another book review. We are talking about Kristin Harmel's The Winemaker's Wife. Now, if you are new here, my book reviews are always spoilery. So, if you have not read this book, go read it and then come back if you want to hear my thoughts. Is it possible to love a book and still despise the main character? Because I did, and I did. So, what's The Winemaker's Wife about? Let's get into it. By reading the back blurb. Champagne, 1940. Inez has just married Michel, owner of the storied champagne house Maison Chauveau, when the Germans invade. As the danger mounts, Michel turns his back on his marriage to begin hiding munitions for the resistance. Inez fears they'll be exposed, but for Céline, the French Jewish wife of Chauveau's chef de cave, the risk is even greater. Rumors abound of Jews being shipped east to an unspeakable fate. When Céline recklessly follows her heart in one desperate bid for happiness, and Inez makes a dangerous mistake, with a Nazi collaborator, they risk the lives of those they love and the vineyard that ties them together. New York, 2019. Recently divorced, Liv Kent is at rock bottom when her feisty, eccentric French grandmother shows up unannounced, insisting on a trip to France. But the older woman has an ulterior motive and a tragic, decades-old story to share. Oh boy, does she. When past and present finally collide, Liv finds herself on a road to salvation that leads right to the caves of the Maison Chauveau. So this is one of those dual timeline sort of books, and as 99% of the time in the dual timeline books, the past timeline is always infinitely more interesting. So we have Liv, who, as I said, is just in the middle of divorce, or just gotten a divorce, and her grandmother, Edith, kind of wants to help her sort of regain her self and sort of like pick herself back up by a trip to Paris. Now, Edith, I found her just a delightful sort of, that fun sort of sassy, snarky grandma that is just such a fun character that we'll get there. But her personality was very contradictory to her younger self, let's just say. So we have Liv in the present and Inez in the past. And Inez is a whiny, useless, selfish, thunderous twat. Her husband, I don't know why he married her, because he has no real interest in her or time for her, which I could feel bad for Inez, but considering what she does, I really don't. I don't. because it just, you could feel bad for Inez if Michel wasn't right about her the whole time. He treated her like she was useless. Because she was useless, she had no interest in sort of his world, in the wine sort of making world. She only wanted him to only ever pay attention to her, and she would try to insert herself into his like winemaking world, but she really could give a shit. And he kept sort of like trying to keep her away from that world, because while yes, he was a winemaker and that was, his living, he was also using it as a front to help the French resistance. And he didn't want Inez to have any part of that, because he knew that Inez did not have the strength of character, or just would not be capable of keeping a secret like that, like what Michel was doing. And living and working at this vineyard is also Celine and her husband, Theo. Now, Theo I did feel kind of bad for, because Theo was just out to lunch. He knew nothing about what was going on around him. And they are a Jewish couple who, while they're working there, Michel is also sort of, as the threat of the Nazis sort of grow, Michel is also kind of hiding them, because the Nazis are rounding up all the Jews and sending them off to places that are not very, that certain idiots think didn't exist and never happened, and that's a whole other rant. But so Celine is, scared and kind of not really very happy sort of in her marriage, because there's nothing inherently wrong with Theo that I can recall. He's just not. He's just not. And as Celine sort of gets more involved with Michel and what he's doing, involved in like the French resistance, they grow closer, because Celine, starts helping him, and she is useful, and she is selfless, and she's, putting her life sort of at risk, helping Michel do these things for the resistance. And so they grow closer, and they do the thing. And so they're basically hiding this affair from everybody. And Inez is feeling more like, nobody wants me around. Like, they don't care about me. Nobody pays me any attention. So she goes into town and starts flirting with this guy. And they start getting closer, because he's paying attention to me and he thinks I'm beautiful and important. And I could feel sorry for her. I could feel sorry for her and understand why she turns to this man, if just as a character she wasn't this just horrible person. But she is, and I don't. So she learns that this man that she's flirting with is a Nazi collaborator. Yeah. Does she break off with him? For about a minute. Then she finds out that Celine and Michelle are having an affair. And this is where everything goes haywire. This is where everything goes horribly, horribly off the rails. Because this bitch, Inez, gets drunk. And I say gets drunk in quotations because, yes, she does get drunk. But I believe to my core that she would have done this even without having gotten drunk. She tells the Nazi collaborator what Michelle and Celine are doing. That they're helping the German, the French resistance by supplying them with and hiding guns for them and doing all other manner of resistance activities. Afterwards, she sobers up and is supposedly horrified by what she's done. But by then it's too late. Because the Nazis come for Celine and Michelle. And I believe they kill Michelle. And they take Celine. And Theo too, I believe. Oh, by the by, Celine is pregnant with Michelle's child. And I believe she even gives birth. I'm not sure if she's pregnant when they take her, or if she gives birth. But either way, Inez is responsible for Celine getting taken by the Nazis and Michelle getting killed by the Nazis. And she is so supposedly riddled with guilt that at the sort of cafe where I believe it's the same cafe where she met the Nazi collaborator guy, there's this couple running the cafe. Edith and her husband. And in sort of one of the Nazi, I think they bomb the cafe or something. But first, Inez tries to get in with Edith and her husband, and because Edith and her husband are also working for the resistance. And so Inez is so riddled with guilt about what this did. I mean, I'm sorry. I've never been drunk. I've been tipsy and that kind of happy kind of feeling. But I've never been drunk. And people say that, don't listen to whatever that person said. They were drunk, you can't put any stock in. I'm sorry. I'm a firm believer. The you when you're drunk, the things that you say are the genuine thoughts and feelings that you have. So, her being drunk when she ratted out Celine and Michel, I'm not going to give her a pass because she was drunk. The alcohol just removed the inhibition that she had. I shouldn't say this because I really want to say it because I'm mad because my husband is cheating on me with this woman, but I shouldn't do it because, they could get them in trouble. The alcohol removed that filter and allowed her true evil scheming self to come out and rat them out to the Nazis, causing Michel to die and Celine to get taken to a concentration camp. So she tries to make up for this by getting involved with Edith and her husband's resistance activities. And they are not sure about bringing her in because they have a brain. But gradually, she apparently proves herself to them. Meanwhile, Celine is in the concentration camp, I believe. And the only thing sort of keeping her alive is the hope that she will be reunited with the baby. Her and Michel's baby. That she was ripped away from. That's the only thing keeping her alive and hopeful. And yet when she gets out, when she's free and liberated from the concentration camp, I believe that she learns that the baby that she gave birth to, I think his name was David, died. So she kind of felt like she had nothing left to live for. But she does meet somebody and fall in love again and have another child. And Inez is doing her resistance activities to make up for what she did, which I'm only glad about that because any help during that time would have been welcome. But during that time, there is a bombing at the cafe that Edith and her husband run, and Edith and her husband, I believe, are killed in that bombing. So Inez uses this opportunity to change her whole identity. So, and to sort of make a new start after the war. She wants to put this whole thing behind her. And I believe she finds Celine's baby, David, and raises him as her own. And he grows up, and he has a daughter named Liv. Because Liv's grandma Edith is actually Inez. And when I was talking about in the beginning how Liv's grandmother is this sassy, snarky, that grandma that we all sort of love, that character archetype, that does not match at all the Inez that we've been reading about all this time. This Grandma Edith had personality. She had strength. I don't understand how we're supposed to think that that's the same woman who ratted out innocent people to the Nazis and got them killed. That didn't, like, her personality as an old grandma does not match Inez's personality. But, okay. So, yeah, we find out that Inez took over Edith's identity. And I think Celine ends up finding Liv, and then Liv, tells her about her grandmother, and then, like, Celine, this woman, she basically says that everything that happened is her fault because she slept with Michelle, and that Inez was not to blame for any of it. Ma'am? Did what happened to you in the concentration camp kill a brain cell? Like, what? I understand what the book was trying to do. Of trying to being like, Celine is like, oh, I forgive her for what happened, and she's really not to blame. Nobody is to blame. So, Michelle and I just fell in love, and we couldn't help ourselves, and if anyone's to blame, I'm to blame because I slept with a married man. No! 100% no! Now, was it good that you slept with a married man? No. Nobody is saying that was a good thing that happened. However, that does not justify this thunderous twat from going to the Nazis and basically serving you up to them. You lost the man that you loved. You, at this point, think that you've lost your child because of her. And I'm supposed to feel like Inez redeemed herself by helping out with the resistance? No. Not at all. She did that to make herself feel better. What Celine and Michelle were doing, that was selfless. That was putting themselves in danger to help other people with their helping the resistance. What Inez was doing was trying to wash away the guilt for what she did. And I'm sorry. No. Her redemption did not work for me at all. And her personality change as Grandma Edith also kind of did not work for me, because I liked Grandma Edith. Inez was a whiny, annoying child of a woman. So oh, and of course, Celine then learns that her child did survive, and that Edith/Inez was the one who raised it, and that then David is Liv's father. So by the end of the book, Celine and Liv, because Edith Inez passes away after she sort of starts to kind of tell what happens, and then Celine sort of fills in the blanks for Liv by the end of the story. So yeah, Inez kind of hijacks the life, not just sort of Edith, who has, died in the bombing, but of Celine, and sort of has the life that Celine should have had with her son and her granddaughter. So by the end of it, Celine and Liv kind of start to form this bond and build, that sort of family. But yeah, she meets some, there's a man named Julian who Liv sort of is like Liv's second chance at love after her divorce. And so he and Celine and Liv, sort of by the end of it, he and Liv are like this couple, and then Celine sort of recaptures her role as her rightful grandmother. So yeah, how do I mean, I loved this book, yet I hated the main character. So and I'm obviously, as we've gotten this far in the review, by the main character I mean Inez, because Liv was fine. Liv was fine. Poor girl. She had, her husband leaves her. She's picking up the pieces of her life. Grandmother says, let's go to Paris. Yes, please. And she meets, this hot guy, and has this new chance at love, and it's all good for her. It's all good for Liv. So Liv I didn't have a problem with. In terms of the main character, I guess you could say Liv was sort of the main character, sort of in the present, but I mean in the past, it's definitely Inez's story. So the past main character I hated. And that usually doesn't happen with dual sort of timelines. With dual timelines, the present timeline, I could, they're just there sort of as bookends. Because, you meet the present day person sort of in the beginning, and then there's a catalyst that leads you into the past storyline, and then the present day comes back at the end. So there's like the two, it serves as like a bookends to the main story, which is usually the past story. So Liv, I was fine with her. No problem there. I liked her. Inez. Oh, I hated her with a passion. Because what she did just proved that Michel knew who he had married. By pushing her out of the vineyard business and keeping her out of the resistance activities, this man knew who he married. Now, there are reasons sort of why he married her, and like, yeah, he sort of loved her in the beginning and like had feelings for her, but gradually she proved and showed him her true colors. So he starts distancing himself from her and falls in love with Celine and that whole thing. So the turn of, or twist, I guess, of Grandma Edith actually being Inez, and that whole coming about because she wanted to redeem herself for the horrific thing that she did? No. In my opinion, she did not redeem herself at all. And I can't reconcile, like I said, Liv's Grandma Edith with that selfish bitch. So, in my mind, they're two different people. Because the character personalities do not match. So, in that, I would say that was the one failing thing, in my opinion, that the writer did. Because the writing in this was beautiful. No problem there. Just that. She made Grandma Edith too likable, too fun, too just a good character. So, and it didn't match with the Inez that we had been reading about up until that point. So I would say that was one thing that the writer failed at, but that was it. Like, just the character personality sort of did not match to make her her. But yeah, I would give this See, 4 seems too high because of the vehemence with which I hated Inez. So, but 3 feels too low because I did really enjoy this book. And you know me, like, I love my World War II sort of stories. I have a few World War II books, including my World War II trilogy that is right. The first book is right there. That's The Arrangement. That's Resistance Book 1. So I adore books set during World War II. So I'm going to say 3.9. because it's not a 4, and it's not a 3, and it's not like a 3.5 or a 3.75. Like, that still feels too low. So I'm going to say 3.9 is my rating for this book. I'm definitely going to want to read more from sort of this author. Because with the exception of that little failing in my mind, in terms of the disparity between Edith's personality and Inez's personality, taking that aside, and the fact that I hated Inez with a passion and she was the second main character, I thoroughly loved this book. And I'm debating keeping it on my keeper shelf or sending it to another home. As of right now, I want to keep it. But yeah. So, that is my review for The Winemaker's Wife by Kristin Harmel. Have you read this book? Let me know what you think of it. Let me know. Like, don't tell me that I'm wrong for hating Inez. Just don't do that. But let me know what you thought of her. And did you think that she had redeemed herself by fighting with the resistance and likely helping so many people? I don't want to take that away, because she did good. She did good things after the horrible thing that she did. She did go on to do good things and help people. I'm not taking that away. My takeaway is that in no way does this make up for what she did to poor Celine and Michelle. Like, if you find out that your husband is cheating on you, by all means, shoot your husband. You know? But to rat him out, and the woman, the mistress, to the Nazis? When you knew what the Nazis were doing. And then to continue to see a Nazi collaborator, because, oh well, at least he pays me attention. He makes me feel pretty, and he pays attention to me. Ma'am, no. But yeah. So, let me know if you feel that Inez had redeemed herself after what she had done by helping with the French resistance, by raising Celine's baby son, and just sort of what your thoughts were on The Winemaker's Wife by Kristin Harmel. So that's going to be it. Hit the little subscribe button to get more book reviews and bookish videos, and leave a like, comment with sort of your thoughts on the book, and because all that stuff sort of helps with the godforsaken algorithm. And I will talk to you guys next time. Bye. I hope Inez is fucking burning in hell, because yes, she might have done good things afterwards, but that one evil thing just overshadows it all, and I hope is burning in hell. Bye.